Hey, Brock.
How's it going, Myers?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Glad you're here. Brock, you're a full-time creator. You make mostly running, fashion, stuff that you like, content, I guess.
Yeah.
Something like that. What is your relationship with social media like as a consumer?
I hate consuming social media. I hate the way that the algorithms are catered against you. It feels like they're designed in such an addictive way to the point where you find yourself in this super distracted mindset, and like your mind ends up in this place where you don't want it to be, and you can't think in a straight line, and then you just pull out your phone out of habit, and all of a sudden you're scrolling, and now your mind is going from one video to the next, and you can't think clearly. And because of that, you find yourself just in this position of, man, I can't, my thoughts don't go together in the same way that I would like them to, or the way they used to.
Yeah.
And I know I create content online, I create content on social media, but most of the stuff that I create, a lot of it is to try to get people out of that loop.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, go out and do something. Go live a little bit. You don't have to sit here on your phone and scroll. Like, go hang out with friends.
Yeah.
Do something that you care about. Do something that you love. Find the thing that you're interested in and go after that. And that's a lot of the content that I make. And as a consumer, man, I just don't really... I'm not the biggest fan of sitting and scrolling on my phone, and I have to use so much discipline and self-control, and I work on that literally every single day because it's challenging.
Yeah. It's a really weird thing because that's like what I'm working to build too. So there's this weird juxtaposition because like if you started a business and didn't use your own product, like it kind of wouldn't make sense because it's like how do you know what's good if you're selling pest control or something? Like, how do you know how to actually kill the bugs around your house and what your customers are actually going to want to buy from you without using the service yourself? And I feel like it's this weird juxtaposition with social media because it is addicting. And so a lot of people who are creating content, especially stuff like what you're doing, which I think is like beneficial and helpful to people, it's a weird juxtaposition because like you're kind of telling people to get off, but then Instagram's not going to like you if you tell people to get off and then they get off after watching your videos, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. And I don't know if it's entirely like pest control, like that type of thing where you're like trying to sell a product and it's a product you don't believe in. I don't feel like whenever I'm making a video, I don't feel like I'm trying to sell people on the algorithm.
Fair.
I feel like I'm more so being like, hey, maybe don't give in to the algorithm all the time. It's almost like trying to sell people on anti-algorithm, like not falling into the algorithm, even though I'm trying to create content that is catered to it in a way that keeps their attention and can convey a message. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'm trying to sell people on something I don't believe in. I think I'm trying to sell people on something that I do believe in, and basically give them the idea that there's more to life than just sitting and scrolling on your phone, because you can just easily fall into that trap. Especially, I think about COVID and what it kind of did to a lot of people my age and around my same age, where you just kind of sat on your phone for a year.
Yeah.
And that was like all you did. And it was like, oh yeah, don't go outside, don't hang out with people, don't do any of this. And in the process of doing that, you built a lot of really bad habits. And I know it's been 6 years or however long it's been.
It literally has, like, which is crazy.
Yeah,
but it like changed the world.
It did. It did in a lot of ways, and it made us feel a little bit more isolated. And now we've kind of gotten to the point where a lot of people are coming out of isolation and they don't really like the habits they've built and the things that they've learned or the algorithms they've been involved in. And now it's just kind of it's a tough place to be. But
what made you start creating?
I just really like the process of doing it. I like the process of creating something great, and I watched other creators that I enjoyed. I initially started with making YouTube videos in 10th grade, or I think it's 10th grade, maybe 11th grade. I brought a camera along to a track meet. And I think it's interesting because nobody in Mississippi was really making content.
Nobody in Mississippi really still is making content.
Yeah, it's a very limited crowd, and people want to get into it, but it's like, I don't know what to do. And nobody in Mississippi was making content. I was one of the only track and field guys that was making content in Mississippi. I think I was the only one that was making content in Mississippi.
I could almost guarantee.
Yeah, unless there may have been some people running around with the camera or something that had tried it before, but I was the only one that would actually was actually relatively persistent with what I was doing. And I would carry a camera along to a track meet and document that because I saw other creators like Ryan Trahan. He used to be a running creator. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
In high school, he was a distance runner, really, really good. And he went to A&M, and then he got into NIL trouble. This was before all the NIL stuff passed. And he was making money off of his content and trying to sell products using his name, image, and likeness. And they were like, you can't do that. So he was using his name, image, and likeness as a Texas A&M runner who was making YouTube videos to try to sell his
weird,
water
too,
bottle.
because that was kind of independent from A&M. It wasn't A&M paying him. No. So that feels weird.
And so it was like you couldn't use your name, image, and likeness to build a brand and business. It was pretty much like the NCAA owned that, and he was like, I don't like this. And then he dropped out of college. Yeah. And now he's got 16 million subs.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't know that.
One of the most impactful creators on YouTube. But that was, he was one of my biggest inspirations early on. He's making running content. Yeah. Bringing it along to track meets. I remember watching his stuff. I subbed to him when he had maybe 2,000 subs.
That's crazy.
Just watching his trajectory over the years has been absurd.
Yeah. And have you met him?
I have not met him. I would love to at some point. Yeah. My friend Preston, me and Preston both watched his stuff when we were younger. And Preston has met him. He met him out in Austin one time. They was out in like a park or something. Yeah. He was like, wait a second. I've watched your videos for years. Yeah. And it was just kind of this cool interaction. But for me, it was kind of, I don't know. He was one of the biggest inspirations I think I had. And there were a few other creators at the time. Zach Levitt, who actually became Ryan Trahan's editor. Okay. He was a running creator as well. Yeah. Dropped out of college, similar to Ryan. And he was making all this running content and these different things. And so I saw what he was doing. I saw what Ryan was doing. I was like, I could carry a camera along to a track meet. Yeah. And I did it, and I made terrible videos. And it was great. And you kind of learn. I learned more about video editing. I learned more about the process of doing that. I learned how to fail through creating content and made better videos and in the process of doing that. And so on the other side of it, I came out and I was like, yeah, that was good. Guys, we've dropped 2 degrees.
We're getting there. Let's talk about that then.
All right, let's talk about the temp.
Yeah. Let's talk about, what's your favorite interior temperature?
Okay. Yeah. So just FYI, camera overheated.
Yeah. Okay,
it's a bit
we're back.
warm in the studio right now.
Wait, what is Tyler's studio called?
Flowwood Creative. Shout out Tyler.
Shout out Tyler.
Letting us use the studio.
Great place.
Tyler. He's one of the few creatives here in Mississippi.
Yes.
Like here in the Jackson area. So if you ever need a studio, you ever need to rent it out, shameless plug.
Yes.
Flowwood Creative.
100%.
Contact Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. I've never met you before, and I don't know when I will meet you. But
but it's a little warm in here. Tyler's been out of town, so it's 85 in here right now. Yeah. And it's feeling a little toasty, but
okay, we were talking about failure.
Yes.
Talk to me about, honestly, like you being a runner, I think running has helped me more than maybe anything else in my life with learning to embrace failure, just do as best you can and get up again tomorrow and go at it again.
Yeah, I would say the same thing is true with me. Running taught me so much about failure, especially whenever you get to a very competitive level. Yeah. And you have a lot of expectation of how you want your performances to go. And you feel the weight of what your coaches expect from you. And you feel the weight of what your teammates expect from you and what your parents expect from you. And what, if you have an audience online, what they expect from you. And you feel all of this weight. And whenever you fail, it feels like a very large failure. It can feel huge. And that's a lot of weight to carry around. And I mean, I've learned how to deal with it. Yeah. I've learned, hey, just don't worry about all that stuff. Go out there and perform the best that you can. And then you don't have to worry about any of that. It takes a weight off your shoulder whenever you can do that. But there were definitely times, if I think about college, there were times where I didn't perform the way that I expected to, that my coaches expected me to, or my teammates expected me to. And I got out there and I ran terribly. And I failed. And I felt like I let people down. And then you just have to get back up the next day, go for a long run, and get back out there the next week and do a full week of training and see if you can get back out there a week later and get it done. Yeah. And you learn how to get knocked down and get back up again. And the worst is whenever you fail whenever I'd fail at like the end of a season, like if I didn't end a season the way I wanted to, because I mean, I ran competitively for 12 years. So sometimes your last race of the year wasn't always your best race of the year. And sometimes it was. Sometimes it was great. It worked out perfectly. You trained perfectly. You peaked right at the right time. But sometimes it wasn't. You'd finish out that season and you'd just be like so let down because you put a lot of weight on that race. You put you put a lot of coins in the jar.
Yeah.
And you would finish that season and feel like, man, you would either finish well or not. And whenever you didn't finish well, for me, it would motivate me. I would be really upset. I would be like, man, that sucked. And then I'd be really upset for like a week. And then I would just start working really harder than I had before. And I would just pursue that with everything I had. And then I'd come back the next season and it'd be even better. And so failure was always an opportunity to learn from the past mistakes. So if I failed at the end of a season, I would use that as the motivating factor to get ready for the next season. And that was the only thing I was thinking about. I was like, I'm not going to fail this time. Like, I'm going to put in the right amount of work. I'm going to dedicate my time to this in the right way.
Yeah.
And it was just this motivating factor. And so I would learn from the failures and continue to move forward in that way. And running taught me how to do that so well, especially on a competitive level.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody experiences that. I get it. But for me, like, that was, man, you just failed miserably. What are you going to do? You could either sit there and get knocked down and face in the dirt. And I can also, like, I also think about running injuries. Whenever I got hurt, whenever I would train really hard for 4 or 5 months, and then I get a stress fracture, I get something that goes wrong, and I'm hurt and I'm injured, and I have to be out for months. You get into a position like that, how do you respond?
Yeah.
And that reveals your character. And for me, it was like, okay, I'm in a position where I don't want to be. Like, I just got an injury, I just got this. I need to respond in a way that whenever I come back, I'm going to be better off. And so that's what I would do. And I think about 2023, that's whenever I got a stress fracture. I've been training out in Boulder, Colorado. That's whenever I first started getting some traction on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really. Was summer of 2023. I was living out in Boulder. I was working for 10 Man Elite, which is a professional running team. They make a lot of YouTube videos.
Super cool.
And I was making their content on social media, and then I was also training, and I was documenting my training while also making their content. And so it was kind of a balancing act between the two. And I built up to running 100 miles a week. I was running with some of the best runners in the U.S. Ran with the Colorado team out at Gold Hill, which was this crazy route up in the mountains that was at 10,000 feet elevation, an 18-mile loop with 2,500 feet of gain. It was nuts.
That's wild.
We ran it, and like at the end of that run, I was like, I just accomplished something I thought I would never be able to do. And it was at the end of a 100-mile week too.
That's
so
insane.
I ran 100 miles that week and capped off that week that way. And I had all these wins and all these wins and all these wins. And then in September, I got a stress fracture after I came back down to Mississippi and had all that. And so it's like win after win after win. And then just like all comes crashing down.
Yeah. And
I was like feeling bad about it. I was like, man, I worked so hard for this. This was tough. This was challenging. And then I was like, oh, let's hop in the pool. Let's start swimming. Let's start cycling. Let's do all the stuff we need to in order to get back and be ready for the spring. And so started swimming a mile a day. That's where the Daily Mile came from. I don't know if you've watched my content back that far.
I was going to ask about that,
But that's where the
Daily Mile was swimming.
It was swimming a mile every day.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's not what I would have thought.
No, most people don't.
Because you're a runner.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And so the Daily Mile was going to the pool and swimming a mile every day. It was representative of getting out there and doing something.
Yeah.
Whenever you're knocked down. And it was this resilience that I'd built through that whole process of winning, and then getting knocked down with an injury.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you respond? Okay, we got to get back out there. We got to do something. Even if it's just hopping in the pool and swimming a mile, or hopping on the exercise bike and going for 30 minutes, or whatever it was. It was like, we're going to do something today. And because we did something, that is going to at least let us maintain some fitness, if not build some fitness.
Yeah.
And once I come back in the spring, like, I'll be better. And I did come back in the spring, and I ran my first 5K back I ran like sub 15 in the 5K on the first one back after months of injury.
Yeah.
And that was a huge win.
That feels
to come
good.
back from that, it was like, whoa, that was incredible to be able to come back and be at a very similar place to where I was before.
Yeah.
And being like, okay, yeah, the work and dedication did pay off.
Yeah. So content, I mean, so much of it sounds like you're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Was the intention ever to like do that full time? Like, did you think in the back of your mind, like, okay, I'm going to like build this into something?
Dude, I had a conversation with my mom the other day because I was sitting in college and I was like taking all these business courses and all this stuff, and I was listening to these professors talk about business and different things and marketing and all this stuff, and I was kind of like doing marketing and making YouTube videos and doing business stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember I called my mom, maybe this is my freshman year. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, they're just talking about stuff that they don't even know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Literally.
So I would call her on the phone maybe like twice a week and talk about, man, I think I'm going to drop out.
I'm sure they love that.
Yeah, my mom was like, I think he's going to drop out, and never told my dad about it, apparently.
Yeah.
But we talked about it the other day, and she was like, yeah, I thought you were going to drop out your freshman year. And you would have been all right, but, you know. But I think it was just, you know, I had this in the back of my mind that I was going to make content somehow and build a business off of it and build a brand off of it, because I'd seen Ryan Trahan do it.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest inspirations, like I said.
Yeah.
I'd seen him do something similar whenever he was younger, and I'd seen him build a brand off of the back of social media, and I'd always kind of wanted to do that and figure out how to do it, and I'm still figuring out how to do it right now. Like, I'm not acting like I've got it figured out. There's definitely some stuff that needs to happen, some decisions that need to be made, but that was the pursuit. That was the thing that excited me, and I figured, man, one day I'll get there.
Yeah.
Just need to keep pursuing it.
Yeah.
And
what is the business of like making content?
So I feel like the business of making content, for me, like the way that I make money for the most part is brand deals.
Yeah.
Different brand deals and things. But I'm also trying to build a clothing brand called OE Athletics. And that's also what we do our run club through. We meet up at Native Coffee every Saturday, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Shout out Native Coffee. And we run a 5K around the neighborhood. But it initially started mainly as a clothing brand, but I wanted to build out some more community aspects to it. And so the run club is kind of it's more on the front end than the clothing brand is right now. It's kind of just taking the front and center.
Yeah.
But I really do want to build the clothing brand into something bigger and something better. And it built on the idea of intentional living. Yeah. Which I think is crucial, and it can apply to all aspects of life. You don't have to be a runner to live an intentional life. Yeah. Live a meaningful life, live something that you're proud of, and pursue new opportunities that excite you. And that was the idea of founding OE Athletics, which over everything, the motto, intentions over everything, intentionality in what you're doing in life. That was the whole thing with OE Athletics. And building that, I just wanted to share this message of intentionality with people. Yeah. And that was the initial business that I started in 2022, maybe is when I started that. Yeah. Yeah. So right before I went out to Colorado, I started that. And maybe it was 20. Yeah, I think it was right before I went to Colorado, I started that. But on the business side of content, I think a lot of it comes down to brand deals. Yeah. And that's most of what I'm pursuing. I'm trying to, I'd say that's like most of what my income is right now, is through different brand deals. Yeah. I did a video for Adidas the other day. Did one for OXO, which is coffee. Yeah, they have like a coffee setup, but they also do like kitchenware and all sorts of stuff. But they have a super cool OXO brew. And so I make coffee in all my videos. And so they were like, we'd love to work with you. I said, yeah, great, let's do it. And so I did a couple videos for them with coffee stuff. How does that relate? How did that start for you? Did you like sign with some kind of like a management company, or have you handled all your own deals yourself? I just handled all my own deals. They'll email me. They'll email the email.
So people usually reach out to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not reaching out to people for sponsorships. They're reaching out to me usually.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
I'll have different brands that are like, hey, we want to work with you for this quarter, or we want to work with you for this one-off reel and story post collab. We're willing to pay you this much. And I'm like, okay, let me negotiate this, and I'll negotiate my own deals. Yeah. First deal I ever negotiated, I was working with my friend Sam, because I texted him. I said, hey man, like, I got this offer from Adidas, Dick's Sporting Goods. Like, I don't know what to offer. Like, is this like a really small, like, I don't know what the price is for this. Yeah. And he told me a number, and I pitched it to him, and they were like, yeah, we'll actually pay you more.
Wow.
I was like, oh, okay.
Sick.
And so they said they actually paid me more. Yeah. And I made them 2 videos, and it was kind of like, whoa, there's real money in this. Yeah. At the time, I'm in college. Yeah. It's like getting a big paycheck like that from a brand deal was like, whoa.
From like a household name brand.
Yeah, from
it's crazy.
Dick's Sporting Goods and Adidas. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty epic.
Yeah, that's sick.
And so,
do you like? Are there people in your family who are entrepreneurs and like creators of some sort? Like, where did it come from? Your family somewhere? You think?
Maybe a little bit. Not like not all the way, but a little bit. My grandfather was a news anchor on my mom's side, and then he also like started a few different businesses and things like that here and there. He owned a restaurant for a while, and he's just kind of done all sorts of different things, worn a bunch of different hats, and so he kind of had the entrepreneurial spirit to an extent. And I spent a lot of time with him when I was younger, and I learned, I guess maybe got a little bit of inspiration for entrepreneurship, but other than that, I mean, my grandfather on my dad's side, who I didn't know him super well, but he was a musician, and so he was kind of not traditional, in that way. And what he was pursuing, he was a big rock musician in the '70s, and it's just a completely different, like, pursuit than anything else, and kind of did his own thing and became very successful with that. And really cool. But my dad, he's worked as like. My dad was a pharmaceutical rep and just worked a regular, like, standard job. My mom, pretty standard with what she's done too. She's a travel agent now, and like that's kind of what she likes to do. And it's a very standard stuff. But
I've been thinking about that with my family history because that's like all that I think about doing with my life is starting businesses and like creating things. And like my dad's been an accountant. My dad is like the picture of like a perfect number two guy, if that makes sense. Like he'll get behind someone else and like support what they're doing, but he's not going to like come up with the idea himself. And then my mom definitely is much more of like the entrepreneur, I would say, but I grew up homeschooled. And so she stayed home and like took care of me and my sisters and taught us. And then like started her own homeschool group and stuff like that. So she kind of took that energy of like making something, but didn't really put it necessarily into like a business to make money. She'd put it into like, raising kids
and teaching them how to
be competent humans.
Be competent
humans,
which is
awesome.
It's great.
But and then like similar with my grandparents, like my dad's dad was like he worked for IBM for like 40 years or something, and then like FedEx for 15 years and retired from both.
That's a very common pursuit of people that are older.
Super common, like boomer.
I mean,
thing.
was he like born in the 40s? Yeah.
But I realized more recently, my mom's mom was super academic, and like did masters. I think she got her PhD, but she helped start the nursing program at UMMC. And the more I've thought about that, the more I realized like I think some of my own drive and ambition actually comes from her, which is funny enough. Like her, and then my mom too. Like my mom, when she was around college age, would have said that she wanted to be a Supreme Court justice, which is like pretty elite, high level, and so it's been funny kind of like introspectively looking back through my family and trying to figure out like where that energy comes from in my life. And I don't know, this is kind of a revelation I had a little bit recently.
I think about the athletic side of things too. People are like, well, anybody in your family run? I'm like, no.
That was another thing. So typically, maybe not typically, maybe I just don't know enough runners and like college athletes, but I feel like a lot of people, when they do that all through school, even through college, and then they graduate and they don't go pro, they stop doing the sport. But you haven't.
I think a lot of it's the mindset that you have around it. If you have this mindset that it's like this work that you're doing, and you like just freaking sell your soul to do it and be incredible at it, or be as good as you can be, and you don't reach that expectation, then it can feel like failure. And how do you respond to failure? That's a lot about your character. And so maybe you don't go pro, but like, dude, if you're still passionate about it and it's still something you like and still something that you enjoy, then keep pursuing and keep sharing that message with people. And what ends up happening with a lot of college runners is that they'll finish up college and they're like, man, that was a lot. That was just like, took so much out of me, and the exact thing you're talking about. But then they'll come back 10 years later. And they're like, oh, I want to run a marathon now. And it's like, dude, you're 35 now. And like, you're not in peak marathon. Like, you're not, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a few years for you to get back into shape. And by that time, you're going to be 38, 39. And you can still run a good marathon, but it's like the last 10 years were your prime marathon years. But I don't know. For me, I think it was just the perspective of, I'm pursuing this because I enjoy it. And there's definitely times when I don't enjoy running, where I'm like, man, this feels like a burden today. It feels like it's not really my favorite thing. Like, I don't want to go do this right now. And then I do it, and I'm like, it's just a discipline at times. But then there's other times where I'm like, man, this is really fun. This is enjoyable. I like this. And I think it's adhering to that and listening to that. And I think I kind of kept that mentality in my last couple of years of running in college. It's like, man, this is an opportunity. It's fun. It's an experience. No pressure on it. Just go out there and perform the best that I can.
What did you do when you ran in college?
I was mainly, I guess, like a miler and a 1,500 meter runner. Like, so kind of middle distance, but also ran cross country. So we'd run the 8K and the 10K in cross country. And then I ran the 5K I would go up to the 5K, and I think my best event was probably the 3K, but we would only do that indoors.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like my best event that I could do wasn't offered really like year round or anything. It wasn't offered for outdoor track. So I would have to go up to the 5K, and I was okay at the 5K, but it just required a little bit too much focus, I think.
Yeah.
And so, I did a whole array of things, but yeah.
And now you're doing marathons.
I do marathons. I just signed up for another 5K though.
Okay.
Out in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
The Boulderthon.
Okay.
Boulderthon 5K, which Boulderthon is like this marathon they do in Boulder every year. But they have a marathon, a half marathon, 10K, and a 5K. And the 5K is one of the fastest in the U.S. It's on the roads. And so it brings in all this talent from all over, and people will come in and race it, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to get out there and do it. And this will be my first time doing it. So
what's it been like transitioning to marathon?
Well, in college, I was pretty good at like long runs, long distance stuff. And I would go out with my teammates, and I would always be the guy pushing the pace for the long runs, and they would hate it. Yeah. Because that was just kind of who I was. And I always found my rhythm pushing a long run and hitting the pace harder and really kind of digging deep in those later miles. And so I was like, well, maybe I could apply this to a marathon. And so I had the strength from like the middle distance background, but I was also really good at long runs and could crush long runs better than most people on the team. So got to the point where I was like, well, we'll see what, like maybe I can do a marathon. So I did my first marathon, and it was middle of summer last year. So back in June of last year, June 21st or something like that.
Dude.
The day before the marathon.
Who would put on a marathon in the summer?
Well, it's in Duluth, Minnesota.
Okay. That makes more
right
sense.
on whatever the Great Lake is. It's connected to, that's right, runs next to Minnesota. Maybe Superior.
Whichever one. I have no idea.
I think it may be Superior, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But it's up there, and the day before the race, we're out there checking in, doing all the stuff that we need, getting our bib and all this stuff. We drove all the way from, I guess, Jackson up to St. Louis and then up to Minnesota. Stopped, got my friend Christian. It was me, my friend Adam, and my friend Christian. Drove to St. Louis, got my friend Christian, drove up to Minnesota. And
That's
then
awesome.
it was great, like road trip. And then we get there and we kind of settle into the cabin, and the next day we go and pick up our race stuff, and the next day is the race. But the day before the race, we're out there on the water. It's 3 p.m. next to, like, we got our race packet and stuff, and we're eating at this restaurant. It's 50 degrees outside.
Holy cow.
Overcast.
In June?
Yeah. And we were like, dude, this is great. We look at the weather. The next day, there was this huge thunderstorm that was moving through. And with this thunderstorm, it was going to bring in 70-degree temps in the morning whenever we started.
Yeah.
And it was going to be really humid. And by the time we finished the race, it was going to be 80.
Brutal.
And the thunderstorm actually pushed the race back to start later. And so it was just kind of like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And so we got out there. I started off a little bit hot. And by the time I made it to mile like 18, 19, 20, I started feeling some cramps in my calves. And then I started feeling cramps in my hamstrings and my quads, my hips, and I like hobbled in the last 6 miles.
Yeah.
So I ran a good 20 miles of a marathon, and it was a pretty decent time.
Yeah.
But then the last one, it was like just rough.
Yeah.
Last 6. And hobbled it in, but still qualified for Boston by like 9 seconds.
No way.
So I made it just under the cutoff, and I had applied. Once I got the time and stuff, and then I applied, and I was like, we'll see if we can get in. Because the cutoff was 2:55, and I ran 2:50. 17 and they allowed like 2:50.27 or something is what maybe somebody's like 10 seconds something like that. And so it's weird with marathons and stuff, because they'll have like a standard of like, oh, this is 2:55, but we're only going to let in guys that have run 2:50.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, yeah, whatever. But yeah, so qualified for Boston, and then I was like, okay, that'll be the next marathon I run, and I'm gonna come back and we'll do something good.
Yeah.
And so I came back, and that was this past April. Trained for that one, pretty hard. Worked with a coach. Only ran 60 miles a week, which is way less than most people are doing for a marathon.
Yeah.
Trying to run time I was trying to run. And
what were you aiming for?
Around 2:30.
Okay.
I ran 2:31:40.
Yeah.
So
almost.
I was right there.
Right there.
I was 20-minute PR pretty much.
Yeah.
And all right.
Yeah. Not bad.
That's a pretty good. Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad to run a 20-minute personal record on the Boston Marathon course.
Yeah.
And so we had perfect conditions. Tailwind. It was a great experience, and I had so much fun with it. I think that was the big thing about it was I didn't have the pressure of performing for a team or performing for anyone. It was just kind of like, we're going to get out there and we're just going to have fun with this because we signed up for it, and we're going to make sure we have more fun than anyone out here. So the whole race, I was just smiling, high-fiving people, having a good time. And
I love that.
With that mentality, it enabled me to be successful on race day.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, like you said, you're approaching prime marathon.
Yeah.
So like you could go out and compete in that arena. Is that something you've thought about doing or want to do?
I've thought about it, but I don't know. It's I don't know if I really have the drive to do it right now.
Yeah.
To like go all in on that. Just because it takes, if you want to be competitive in the marathon, you got to run 110 miles a week.
Yeah.
And you got to be dialed in on all your nutrition and all the stuff. And you have to be almost obsessive about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I want to hang out with my wife and just and pursue other things. Build a business and like make content that things that I'm passionate about. Maybe and not. I've had my fair share of running higher mileage weeks and training at a competitive level, and I still like running and I still like going out and doing races for fun. But I want to try to run an Olympic qualifying, like an Olympic trials qualifying stand. Could I? Maybe.
Yeah.
Do I want to put in the work and dedication? I don't think that's in the cards for me right now.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple of years you could ask me and I might be pursuing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But because prime marathon years usually between 28 and 35.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually when people are kind of in their prime. And so I have a couple years until I'm in my prime, but
I ran my first marathon it would have been a little over a year ago now.
Where'd you do it?
I did Gulf Shores.
Okay, that sucks.
I ran. I didn't know that until I did it. I was supposed to run it.
It's flat, and you're like, oh, it's like winter, it's flat.
Yeah.
And then you all of a sudden it's windy or it's hot.
Yep. It was like drizzling a little bit the whole time.
Yeah.
And so much of the course, especially the latter miles, is just running through the woods by yourself.
Yeah.
And that is hard. I was supposed to run it with my best friend, and he got sick like 2 weeks out. And so he cut his race down to the half. So I ran the full by myself.
Okay.
And I kind of wrestled with that at the end. I was like, I finished it. And I was like, I could commit myself to this and like get better. I don't know if I have the genes to really be like super competitive.
You could,
but
I don't know if it's a like. It depends on how you classify super competitive.
It would
like
2:30 or less. That would be. I ran mine in 4:29.
Okay,
but also like I was just trying to finish. Yeah,
think about Eric Floberg.
Yeah,
he's whenever his first marathon was like 4:13 or something like that.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was something like that, and that was the first one he ran, and that was back in 2018.
Wow,
and now he ran 2:29 this year.
Yeah.
And so it's like
I have been watching Truett Haynes.
Yeah.
Like kind of do that thing where he knocks his times down.
He's trying to do 2:16.
Yeah.
That's gonna be hard.
It's crazy. But I like the same thing for me. I was like, do I really want to like commit realistically like 8 years?
Yeah.
Of like my whole life changes and is centered around this.
Yeah.
And the answer was no.
Yeah.
Like I want to run and take care of myself, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's different.
I'm still in the process of making those decisions. I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before we started recording with the decision making. You can get stuck in an unmade decision, and then you don't have any direction.
Yeah.
And you can find yourself in this position of, I don't know which direction I'm going in.
Yeah.
And I have all these options that are still open, and I just can't make a choice. And so I'm going to be really bad at everything. Or I'm going to be really average at everything I do and just kind of pursue everything half-heartedly. Or am I going to go all in on running and make that one of the number one priorities in my life?
Yeah.
Or am I going to go all in on building a business and make that one of the or all in on like, I don't know. It's
how do you balance? I wrestle with that so much. Like I have a job and then I do this.
Yeah.
And I'm married. and I, run and lift weights. Like I do other stuff.
That's it. That's all. Those are you have to choose.
Yeah.
You have to be very.
I can't really say yes to much of anything else other than this.
Nope.
Because especially if this is what I want to be the thing, like all of my spare time has to be this.
Yeah.
Outside of taking care of like my life,
Yeah.
How do you balance all of that?
Dude, I'm still working on it. Still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be better at it. I'm not always great, but I do think it all comes down to making the decisions on the things that you do want to pursue. And whatever that is, if you're, hey, I want to be a runner and I want to pursue the marathon and see how good I can get in that, then that is one of the decisions that you have made, and that is what you're going to spend your time pursuing. Or maybe it's, I want to pursue making a podcast, and I want to spend more time on this, and I want to build out a business for it, and I want to build out a team that can help me to produce this, and I want to get better guests, and I want to ask better questions, and I want to figure out how I can host a better podcast. And that's the thing that you're going to pursue. And then maybe it's like, I also want to spend time with my family, and like I value my faith, and like those types of things that you need to pursue. Like you have to just choose probably 3 things that you're like, I really value these 3 things. You can't choose 7 things.
Yeah.
And that's, you can get really caught up in those 7 things.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I also want to do this, and I want to have time to do this and whatever. Like or maybe I want to play golf and do this, and like spend time with friends every night. And like, it's great to spend time with friends. Like I'm not dissing that. Like I think you should spend time with your friends as often as you possibly can.
Yeah.
But I also think that you have to, if you're making a decision, you got to kind of narrow it down.
Yeah. I like, so I studied economics at school.
I'm a business major.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know that you met your wife in economics class.
Yeah, I did.
Trade-offs.
Yeah.
Life is trade-offs. And I don't think
What's the opportunity cost?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I understood that really when I took the class. I was like, yeah, that's true. But I didn't feel that in my life until like I got married. And then I was like, okay, so I can't move to Austin and go like
be a content creator.
Yeah, be a content creator in Austin. I can't go to Denver and like, join my buddies on the mountain bike trails because my wife wants to go to grad school. So we're going to go to grad school.
We're going to grad school. I guess.
And we're going to be
here. That's the sacrifice you're making.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, even talking with Mason, my buddy behind the camera. He has 2 kids.
Shout out Mason.
Hey, Mason. He has 2 kids. So like even more like his family takes priority over even like my buddies in town hanging out. Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't. Gotta take care of the boys while like wife is, trying to keep her hair in her head. Like,
yeah,
it's trade-offs. And I don't think I felt that really until like the last couple of years. 'Cause like in college you can learn that theoretically, but like you have so much time to just like do whatever you want, and it's awesome and it's super fun. But there aren't really much trade-offs that you really face other than maybe like you don't have that much money, but like you can kind of work around that and be scrappy, and still find ways to like travel and
you find ways to just do random stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and my friend Preston, which I talked about him earlier, me and him and my friend Adam, we would hop in a car and just drive up to North Carolina for a weekend.
Yeah.
It'd be like Thursday night, and we would like, what if we just drove to North Carolina? And then we would, and we'd go up there and camp for the weekend and come back to Jackson. And it was just crazy. Like, we'd just spend the whole weekend out there camping, living in a car or whatever. Yeah. And it was, dude, those are some of the best memories I have from college.
Yeah,
and
so much fun.
We just decided impromptu to go do it. And you can make it work. But there are trade-offs as you get into adult life. And do I think a lot about just being a creator, someone who is creative in Jackson or in Birmingham. It's not as big of there's not as big of a crew.
Yeah.
There's not as many people that are doing it. There's some maybe, but it's not huge. And so you find yourself kind of on this, I've heard it described as you're on an island. And like, if I moved out to Austin, I could be with all these other people who are doing very similar things to what I'm doing. Or if I moved to New York, I could be with all these other people who are doing similar, Denver, Boulder, wherever. And I think about that and I'm like, man, that is challenging. But then I think about the other side of it of like, but I'm the only one who's here doing it, and that's a differentiating factor. And so because it's a differentiating factor, then that puts me in a place where maybe I stand out amongst the crowd.
Yeah.
And it can be like a superpower almost if I
Yeah.
use it correctly. And think about it in that way. It's like, yeah, okay, you don't have as many connections with other people who are creative and doing the same things, but maybe that's all right because it forces you to be more creative and rely on your own creative instincts, and that's what's going to make you different than other people. Because if you move out to Austin, you're going to be just another podcaster living in Austin, or just another video creator living in Austin, making content. But now you're a guy in Mississippi, and there are random people who are out in middle of Mississippi, like looking for content to watch, and looking for videos, and looking for guys that are doing similar things what they're doing, and you're paving that way for them.
Yeah.
Same with Alabama. There's people that are out living in the middle of, I don't know, middle of nowhere.
Hueytown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, tell me about reckless optimism.
Dude,
because I love that. I love that perspective. That
man.
I mean, I talk about this with Bennett too, because I mean, there are creative people in Birmingham, but there aren't very many people doing stuff like what you're doing and what he's doing, which is like full time on social media, posting videos, and then like building a business around that marketing tool. And it can be challenging because like, who do you bounce ideas off of? And you kind of have to like build these friendships from afar with other people doing similar things. But it can be a superpower. Like, I love that perspective. How do you maintain your sense of reckless optimism?
Dude, it's challenging sometimes.
Yeah.
It for sure is. But I think you just have to like believe that it's going to be all right. Believe that you can make it through. Believe that you've done it before. You know what it's like whenever you face a challenge. You think about it, you tie it back into running. You gotta know what it's like to fail. But I know on the other side of that failure is something that's gonna be like, maybe it's a big breakthrough. Maybe I set a personal record in running or whatever. And so it's kind of that same type of thing of keep the options open, keep the optimism there. Because if you're negative, then you aren't gonna take any risk. Like if you think about it as, man, this is going to be so challenging. This is so difficult. This is so hard. I'm trying to think of an example of something, but I can't think of anything right now. But if you're thinking of the task that you're pursuing and you're like, man, this is so hard and this is so challenging, it doesn't make sense.
Putting out a video every day.
There's too much risk. Yeah. There's too much risk. There's too much time. Then you're never going to pursue it. But if you're like, man, well, maybe I should just pursue it and just keep doing it, then I don't know. You just have to stay optimistic about it.
Yeah.
I think about my friend Noah Anderson, who I don't know if you know who Noah is. He does triathlons.
Okay.
He's a Mandarin guy.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen him.
No, I hadn't.
Dude, he eats mandarins all the time, and he does triathlons. And he's one of the most optimistic people I've ever met. Yeah. Incredible content creator. And he makes videos on social media, on Instagram and TikTok. And then he has a YouTube channel. Yeah, maybe 500,000 on Instagram and 100,000 on YouTube. Maybe even more. I don't know. Dude's locked in.
Yeah.
Dude's crushing. He's locked in. Every video he posts on Instagram gets like 1 million views.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
You've
probably seen his stuff.
I'm sure I have.
Don't know who he is.
Well, I was just thinking about Not Really Wellness, the 5K a day guy. Have you seen him?
I don't know if I have.
He's from Atlanta. He's buddies with Michael Smoke.
Okay.
And he started doing a 5K a day and started his account, I think, like...
Is that the guy that did he would just do the 5Ks in the random places? Or is that...
Yeah. So, like, on top of my fridge,
on top
5K,
of the fridge,
running in a circle.
I've seen him.
Like, changed his whole life in, like, a year.
In, like
started
30
posting
days.
Content. Yeah, genuinely. No, yeah. Like, I think he made a video that I watched at some point that was, like, the timeline of, like, when he started making videos and when he, like, quit his full-time corporate job. And it was, like, 6 months. It was, like, not very long. And that's not always going to be the case for everyone. But I think, at least for me, like, hearing stories like that, it's, like, the fuel that helps keep me kind of, like, trucking along, knowing that, like, Alex Ramosi always says volume negates luck. Like, continuing and being persistent and putting out more and just, like, trying to figure out how to do it and make good content.
Dude, you've got to have that belief that you can get there.
Yeah.
You have to. That's that reckless optimism, like you were talking. Like you have to have that belief that you can get to that place and your life can be completely different 3 months from now.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that belief, then of course you're not going to get to where you want to go. But I think about the Daily Mile, and I think about what I achieved in 100 days, and the amount of impact that had, and the amount of people that it changed their lives, and the messages that I got, and the emails that I got in that time. And I think about the amount of impact I had in simply 100 days was astronomical.
Yeah.
And it completely changed the trajectory of my life and the trajectory of other people's lives. And if you think of it in that way, you're like, wait, things can happen. If you're optimistic about it and you believe that there can be change and your life can be in a completely different place, then all you have to do is just pursue it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Pursue it with all that you have. And obviously you have to make those decisions of what am I going to pursue? And that's the hardest part, honestly.
Yeah.
Which things am I going to pursue? Once you make that decision, just go for it.
Yeah.
Get in the trial loop.
Yeah.
Get in the loop of this worked, this didn't work. This worked, this didn't work. Don't sit there on the unmade decision.
Yeah.
Like Hormozy talks about.
Literally. Yeah. How do you something I've thought about with like especially the style of content that you make, which is very like aesthetic. You've got a vibe going. You care a lot about the art of it. It's not just like talking head videos, you know? How do you balance like having discipline and consistency, but also like seeking inspiration? Because sometimes it feels like those two things can be like at odds with one another. Like a lot of people who are artistic, like wait until they're inspired to make something. But like if you want to build a business around your art, you can't do that. Like there has to be a level of discipline and consistency.
Yeah, I think for me it was a creative exercise of making a video every single day. And even when I wasn't inspired, finding something to make a video about and digging deeper. And I think the reason that a lot of people struggle with making videos and creative ideas is they think their idea isn't good enough, or they are leading a distracted life and they don't have enough focus. So either of those things, they think their idea isn't good enough, but in reality, they can make a video about anything. They can make a video about microphones and how it's revolutionized the world and how people used to talk on the radio and do this or whatever, anything that they're interested in. They can make a video about this table and the way it was built and talk about it, and somebody's going to find it interesting.
Yeah.
Or you could draw an analogy of podcasting to something else. I don't know. I'm just thinking off the top of my head right now, but you can make a video about anything. And a lot of people get stuck on this idea that, it has to be this big, this groundbreaking idea.
Right.
And I made a video about my desk lamp the other day, or maybe it was a couple months ago, but I made a video about my desk lamp. And it got a lot of views and a lot of people liked it. And it was interesting because it was the premise. I bought this desk lamp for $10 at a Goodwill in Boulder. And the light was I used it to light my videos for the longest time. I recently bought a big light with a C-stand and stuff, but I used it to light my videos for the longest time because it was cheap and I bought it for $10 and it got the job done. And so I made it this far just using this little cheap desk lamp that I put a little diffuser, like a paper diffuser over the top of that I taped on with packing tape. I made it that far with that little light. And I made a video about that. And I was like, you don't have to have all the fancy stuff. You don't have to spend $400 on a light. You can go and buy a $10 desk lamp and rig it up the right way, and you'll actually have a good lighting setup.
Yeah.
And it's good enough to get you started, so don't let that hold you back.
Yeah.
And that was the premise of the video. And you can make a video about anything, but if you're if your life is too distracted to the point where you aren't noticing these little things, you aren't noticing these little details, you aren't thinking about how you utilize a desk lamp instead of a big light, or you aren't thinking about these just little nuances that you notice throughout your day. You aren't noticing. I was talking to a friend yesterday. She was talking about how every time she goes for a walk, she'll notice the frogs that are in the pond next to the railroad tracks, and she'll sit and she'll watch the frogs. And people will drive by and they'll look at her and they'll say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
And it's just, she's noticing the frogs. She's like, "No, like I'm fine. I'm just looking at these frogs. They live here."
Yeah.
And most people wouldn't notice the frogs. And it's like, we got to notice more frogs, right? Yeah. We have to spend more time just noticing these little things. And you could literally make a video about how those frogs live in that pond and that is their life.
Yeah.
And people would find it interesting.
Yeah.
If you tied in the right lesson and the right morals. But if you aren't noticing these things, you aren't going to pick up on it. And if you're living too distracted of a life, then you aren't going to pick up on these little things. You aren't going to have enough creative inspiration to actually be consistent.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people end up, is that they're too distracted or they think their ideas aren't good enough. And in reality, you can make a video about anything.
Yeah.
Don't let that hold you back. And whenever you have that creative inspiration, act on it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Don't sit and plan it out for weeks. It doesn't, like, unless you're trying to make a documentary about something on YouTube that you want to be really well created and really well edited and all this stuff, and you have all these things that you're trying to do and this specific type of storytelling and the color grading, and you're planning out, you're building out a team, and you got to have people doing lighting and photography and all these other things. You're doing a campaign or something like that requires a lot of planning. Most of the time, if you're making something on social media, it doesn't require that much, and you should just
It's also like that's something to build up to, I think, too. Like you can aim at that being the future that you're working towards.
You could aim at that, but I don't think it's going to work as well on social media, like on an Instagram.
Yeah.
Or a TikTok or a YouTube Shorts.
Hormozy has another thing. He says, and I always butcher this quote. been talking about it the last couple of weeks, but I should go back and look it up. But he talks about how you learn like the whole process of like self-growth and self-betterment is like probably 5 or 10% of it is like learning the new information. And then like 90% of it is like hearing it over and over again until it actually like bakes into your brain and you believe it. So like that's what's helped me a lot with my content is like I don't really think anything that I'm ever saying online or cutting up clips from other people saying is like anything novel or like new or different. But the stuff that I listen to, like I resonate with people just rewording the same thing that I've heard before, just put in a different context or a different verbiage.
Put it into their experience. Whenever they put it in their experiences. Whenever they tell you to do something, but then they're like, oh, I know this because this one time I experienced that same thing whenever I was, I don't know, just back in my life, I struggled with the same thing at some point 5 years ago. Yeah. And I've experienced this, and this was the story. Like, you tell it in your own words, and you tell it in your own story. Everybody has their own experiences, and that's the lens that you have to tell anything through, and that's what makes you different. That's what makes you stand out. Yeah. Everybody has different experiences, and that's the differentiating factor. Yeah. I have a gift for you. You have a gift? I have a gift for you. Wow, I didn't know I was getting a gift. And it's funny, too. Should I open it right now? Yeah. Open it on camera? Open it on camera. It's not actually a gift for you. It's a gift for Mary Grace. It's a gift for your wife. Mary Grace is going to love this. It's a needlepoint canvas. She's going to think this is the best thing ever. She's huge in a needlepoint. My wife is also huge in needlepoint. Have you ever tried needlepointing yourself? Dude, I have not. I haven't either. Mary Grace she started the Jackson Needlepoint Club. She did. Yeah. She's big into it. Yeah. How did you meet Mary Grace? We were taking an econ class together. Yep. We were at MC. We're both business students. She was a finance student. I was an entrepreneurial business student. And we were just taking an econ class. And then I sent her a DM asking her out at one point. And I think because we had met like earlier, like maybe at the end of sophomore year. And then she moved out to California for the summer. I was in Boulder for the summer. And then we came back and I sent her like a DM. I was like, hey, like, let's get coffee or something. And so we went and got coffee, and we went to Native. Nice. All roads lead back to Native. All roads point to Native. That's hilarious. But yeah, we went there, and it was, we sat and talked for like 3 hours, and then we went back to campus, and we sat and talked in the car for like 3 more hours, and I was like, yeah, this will probably work out. Yeah, nice. And so, the rest is history. Yeah. I feel like... and we got married back in October. Past year or so. Congrats. So not that long ago. I thought I've been married for a couple years. No, it's coming up on a year. How old are you? I'm 24. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. I'm 26. Okay. Right ahead of you. No, yeah, you're just right ahead. How old are you? 26. Yeah. We are 3 months apart. These guys. No. No, don't disclose that. Yeah, I was born in 2000. He was 99. Yikes. Where are we going? Mary Talking Grace. About needlepoint. Needlepoint, yeah. I asked my wife, I was like, are there any questions I could ask him that are like needlepointy things? And I didn't understand any of them, so I didn't even know if you would answer the right thing. That would be... She was like, what's an LNS? I was like... No clue. No idea. I have not gotten into needlepointing. Mary Grace has been like, you should try it. I'm like, no, I'm all right. I don't think that's the thing for me. Yeah. Balancing like the domestic life with the content creator life. It feels like those things, like when you look at, mix well. They don't seem like they mix well. And that's what I'm wrestling with this is like, if I want to go get guests who are like bigger names, which is part of like how you grow a podcast, like I need to go other places. And like, I can do that now where like my wife works in medicine, so she's working this weekend. So it's like, I can just leave for the weekend. But like when I have kids, like... You got to look after the kids. Exactly. Yeah. And like if you're Joe Rogan or if you're Chris Williamson, then people will come to you because you're massive. Yeah. But like for you, balancing what you're doing, how do you build like a normal, lovely domestic life? Dude, I'm still working on it. It's... not always easy because my wife, she works a 9 to 5. So I have to build my work day in a very 9 to 5 manner, or she works 8:30 to 5 or whatever, 8 to 5. So I have to build my day in a very 9 to 5 type manner where I'm up at 5 a.m. We go to the gym, we run, do whatever needs to be done, and get breakfast, get ready to roll. She leaves at 8. I'm like, all right, time to start working on stuff. Get the editing done, get film, work on new video ideas, do whatever I need to get done. And whenever I'm doing that, I feel like that type of structure helps me, and it kind of helps balance everything out. So then at the end of the day, whenever she gets back from work, it's like, okay, start cooking dinner. And we cook dinner and hang out, and like that's kind of how we wind down at night. So that's kind of the way that I'm structuring things. But what's hard for me is that I'm very much like a night owl type person. So getting up at 5 is like, man, that's not very fun. But you can train your body to do things. But for me, like I'm most creative at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm usually asleep at 11 p.m. And so I think about my best idea. Like the idea to start my clothing brand and like OE Athletics was at like midnight. Yeah. I was sitting there and I was like, I'm just going to start it. And then I like registered for the LLC. Yeah. Just right there. And like I was like, yeah, we'll just do this right now. And I just did it. And that type of thing where I get those creative ideas and that inspiration later at night whenever I'm working on a project or editing or doing something like that. And that in an ideal world, I'd work like 8 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Yeah, literally.
I think.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always balance with the running, especially living in the South, being able to do that, because then I'd wake up at noon and then I'd have to run at 1 p.m. or something. Like
the worst time possible.
And my sleep cycle would be all over the place. I don't know what it would look like, but I feel like I'm most creative at night. But even with that, I don't know. You just have to kind of build a structure and be disciplined about it and kind of match. Like for me, I'm matching Mary Grace's structure however I can of what her day looks like and trying to do something similar to that. And sometimes I'm not always inspired middle of the day. Yeah. It's noon and I'm like, dude, I don't even know what I need to do. I don't know what I need to do. I need to edit this project, or man, I don't really want to edit this project. And you just kind of feel like, man, I don't know if I want to. I don't want to do this right now. I don't feel inspired, and kind of just have to do it. But still working on that. But I think it's just the discipline of like building out a schedule like that. Yeah, and doing something similar to that. So
right. What, dude? What's the dream? What are you building towards?
I don't really know yet. I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go. And I should probably set some more long-term goals of this is what I want to achieve 10 years from now and pursue it in that way of how can I get closer to that. But as of right now, I'm not really sure. I think I want to build a business to be bigger than it is right now, build out a team to help me grow the brand, spread the idea of intentionality. It's a positive idea that I think a lot of people could use more of. And I think it's something that I've struggled with in the past and I struggle with today sometimes. Like being an intentional person and leading a meaningful life is a challenging thing to do. And the better you can get at being intentional, the more meaningful your life can be. Yeah. And that's the message that I'm trying to share with people. And that's the brand that I'm trying to build. And that's what I want to pursue. And I want to share that message with other people. And so I want to do it through a brand, but I'm also like, man, if I could just share that with other people, and it's something that maybe I've struggled with in the past where I'm like, man, I feel stuck, or I feel like I don't have the motivation to keep moving forward, then like what would I want to hear from myself? And that's a lot of what content creation is. It's this idea, you're almost like journaling. You're like getting your thoughts out on paper and you're making a video about something that you've thought about. Yeah. For me at least, that's what it comes down to. It's like, oh, this is something that I'm struggling with and that I've thought about recently, and I think other people are probably struggling with it too. Other people are thinking about this same thing. So I need to make a video so I can get my thoughts together. And once I have those thoughts together, I can pursue it better. Yeah. And yeah, so, but as far as long-term goals, man, I don't really know. I don't know where I'm going to land, where I'm going to end up. Just keep making videos probably. Yeah. I do want to do more on YouTube. I think Instagram is great for reach. Doing stuff on Reels, doing short form is great for reach, reaching a ton of people. But depth is built on podcasts and YouTube. Yep. And because for someone to spend a lot of time with you on Instagram, they've got to watch like all of your Reels. You got to post every day. Yeah. And they have to watch every single one of your videos and watch the whole thing through. And it's like, man, I don't know if people
don't usually use Instagram like that.
Yeah, it's hard to get that level of commitment from people. But if you're doing YouTube, people will sit and watch a 30-minute YouTube video. You know how long it would take somebody to spend 30 minutes on Instagram Reels on your content specifically? Yeah. That would be crazy.
That would be nuts.
And you kind of think of it in those terms. It's like, oh, okay. Nobody's going to be spending 30 minutes. You'd have to have 30 videos.
Yeah.
And you'd have to have somebody that watches all 30 of the videos. And that's tough to come by.
Yeah.
But you can get a lot of reach with one video. You can reach 1 million people if you play the cards right.
Yeah.
You can reach 20,000, 30,000, 100,000 people if you play the cards right. But how many people are actually engaged or willing to convert? It's a much, much lower number.
Yeah.
And I think if you have 100, it's the idea of 100 true fans or 1,000 true fans or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that.
What was that? Is that Purple Cow? Or no, there's a Real Artists Don't Starve. Is that what that book is? That was one of the lessons from that book?
Maybe.
Have you read that? I was a music business minor for a little while in college.
Okay.
Didn't finish that because I wanted to graduate on time and just be done with school.
Yeah.
But one of the books that they made us read was Real Artists Don't Starve. And they talked about that. They were like, you need 1,000 true fans who are going to, like, every time you put out concert tickets, merch, anything, they're going to come and, like, spend money.
What do you think about that? 1,000 people spend $100 is $100,000.
Yeah. And that's your full-time living.
Yeah.
And, like, 1,000 people sounds like a lot, but, like...
It does, but you think about, I get 1,000 likes on Instagram, but that doesn't always convert.
Right.
Okay, how can I get these people to convert? Well, make long-form, valuable content that they can watch, that they are going to really engage with, build that parasocial-type relationship with them, and they'll convert.
Yeah.
That's how you create conversions. And it's not just for the sake of converting and building a business and like, oh, well, I'm going to use these people. Like, that's obviously not the approach that you're taking, but you are trying to like build a business out of it to an extent, and that's what you have to do. It's building that relationship, and at the end, that you're trying to get people to convert and buy your product and do whatever. And it's a product. If it's a product that you believe in, something you truly value, and something you think other people should value, and it's a reminder of, for me, it's a reminder of intentional living. Somebody buys a hat, somebody buys a shirt, somebody purchases something from me. It's like, this is a reminder, a memento that you can bring into your daily life to lead a more intentional life.
Yeah.
And if that's something that people people value and they like my content in that way, and they're like, I want to support you in that way, and people purchase a hat or a shirt or whatever it is, then they're going to carry that with them throughout the rest of their day and throughout their daily lives.
Yeah.
And that's meaningful.
How is it, or maybe that's not the right way to phrase this. I mean, you're famous on social media. Like, you have almost 100,000 followers on Instagram and across other platforms and stuff.
Semi-famous, maybe.
Do you have people like come up and be like, dude, I love your content. Like, I love your videos. Like, does that kind of stuff happen to you yet?
Yeah.
What is that like?
You just like, all right, sweet, dude. Where have you found me? That's usually my first question is like, oh, where have you seen my videos? Like, oh, I watch you on Instagram. Oh, I've seen you on YouTube or whatever it is. And so then talk about that for a second. And they're like, oh, can I get a photo or whatever it is? And so I'll have those interactions for sure. Yeah. First time it happened to me it's happened a few times over, like, early on it happened because whenever I ran cross country, track and field, I built up a pretty good name for myself in high school. I was one of the best like high school runners in Mississippi. So a lot of people in the state knew who I was, but didn't it wasn't necessarily the same as reaching 100,000 people on Instagram or social media.
You were famous in a very specific field.
Famous in a very specific area. But one time I was in Atlanta, Georgia at a track meet, and people approach me at track meets all the time. They're like, oh, I love your content. Because it's running stuff. A lot of it was college or high school, and so that was a very common thing. But we were at Georgia Tech. We left Atlanta, or the area by the track, and we went over to like a coffee shop downtown. And I was standing in the coffee shop buying a coffee, and the guy looks at me. He's like, you're the Daily Mile guy. And I was like, what? And he's like, you live in Atlanta? And I said, no, I don't live in Atlanta. I was like, I am just here for a track meet. He was like, oh. It's like, well, what advice do you have for me to like get better at running? And I was like, dude, I don't know. I was like,
that's a really loaded question.
Yeah, I was like, what's your experience level? How much you been running recently?
Put shoes on, go outside and run.
Yeah, just honestly stay committed to it and just keep doing it over and over again. And yeah, it was just an interesting interaction of being like, wait, this guy knows me from my content. And it was one of the first times that it happened. But then that happened multiple times. There's another time I was in the Houston airport, and we were flying to Switzerland. I was going with a friend of mine, or a couple friends of mine. We were going to Switzerland, and I looked over, and there was a girl wearing a Daily Mile shirt.
No way.
And I was like in the airport standing next to her, and I looked over, and I was like, I'm that guy.
That's crazy.
And I was like, wait a second, your shirt. And so then I was like, wait a second, that's crazy you're wearing the shirt. She said, oh, yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so people would like recognize me out in public, but I don't know, it's just kind of like, oh yeah. My friend Noah, he's really funny about it because people recognize him. They're like, wait, you're like famous. And he's like, no, not really. That's how he responds to it. He's
funny.
like, oh, not really. My name's Noah.
Yeah.
That's like his response every single time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It is funny too. Like the internet is a huge place.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about that the other day because sometimes you just find people on Instagram and they have 70 million followers and no one you know follows them, and you're just like, who is this person?
Yeah, you're like, how is this person?
Like when I found Bad Bunny, he's like one of the biggest music artists in the world, and mostly big in Latin America because his music's in Spanish. I found him on Spotify. He was like the number 8 artist like in the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
How is that? How do I not know who this is?
Yeah, like why is he up here with Justin Bieber?
Yeah, literally.
Taylor Swift.
But it's funny.
This
like,
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, 100,000 people is like enough to sustain a business and like do the thing full time.
1,000 people isn't enough to sustain a business full time. That's
but like, in the grand scheme, you can always compare yourself to someone bigger, you know, and there always is someone bigger. So it's like this weird game, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I have a friend, he's one of Bennett's friends. We go to the gym together.
Okay.
He asked me, or he gave me a question to ask you. His name's Luke Muskelly. Shout out, Luke. Who was the first person to believe in you? And how did that change your life?
First person to believe in me in what context? Because I feel like I've had different people believe in me in different contexts. Like I feel like
open to interpretation.
Early on, like my grandfather was probably the first person that believed in me and would always take me to do things and teach me how to like. He'd take me golfing and give me golf lessons and just be like, here, like try this. And then I'd try it and he would be like, I think you could be good at this. And then believe in me there. And everything I was doing, he'd be like, let's try this. And then he'd believe that I could do it. And that belief resonated with me deeper. And there was a story that I told on social media. At one point, it was about, I went out to the track and I ran at a track meet and I kept running 207 in the 800. And I would run 207. This was maybe 10th grade, 9th grade, something like that. I kept running 207. And I was like, man, I just keep running 207. And I'd go to track meets and I'd run 207. I'd go back and I'd run 207. And I just thought, man, I guess I'm just going to be stuck at 207 forever. My grandfather said, no, you can probably run sub 2 right now. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He said, no. He said, let's go out to the track right now. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, let's go out to the track. I said, okay, I guess. And he, like, I was like, nah, like, I don't want to. I ran a meet like 2 days ago. Like, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to go out to the track. Eventually, he convinced me. We go out to the track. He's like, I think you can do it. And so I was like, whatever. You can run faster than 207. So we get out there, and he said, I just want you to get out as hard as you can the first lap, and just hold on the second lap. I think you have more in the tank than you think you have. So, okay. And so I got out really hard in the first lap. I went out. I wasn't in spikes. The track was paved, and so it wasn't even like a rubber track or anything.
Yeah.
And it was paved, and went out there, and I was wearing these marathon training shoes. And I just started around the track and came through the first lap. I don't know what I came through in, but split the 800 and ran 201, which was 6 seconds faster than I'd ever run before. Out here in the middle of practice, like out at this random track on a Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
And that belief carried pretty far in my training and stuff. And so I think about it in that context. I think about it on social media, like some of the first people that found me. Like one of the early guys that found me was Nick Bear. And so Nick Bear found my content and stuff. And he like sent me a message and was like, yo, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're making awesome YouTube videos. You're making great stuff on Instagram. And like that belief, I was like, that's epic. So I like looked up to Nick and I watched his podcast and listened to his podcast and watched his videos and been following him for a while. And so for him to send me a DM, like a voice message, it was like a minute long or something. It was like, whoa,
so
this
cool.
is crazy. And it's just a random random day, and he just sent me a message and was like, I love what you're doing. Keep it up. And eventually got on. I was a BPN sponsored athlete for a while.
Yeah.
So I was on the BPN athlete team and there for like a year.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's
one
sick.
time. But
I've been exploring this idea of like self-limiting beliefs. It feels very spiritual. There's some I don't understand the spiritual world very well. I'm a pretty like practical person most of the time. But it's interesting thinking about like, so I went on a retreat. There was like a retreat for Christian entrepreneurs kind of thing.
when was this?
This was, when was this?
A week and a half ago?
No. It was like a couple months ago. It was in Alabama.
I had a friend of mine that went on one up in Montana.
Okay.
Or in Wyoming, maybe a couple weeks ago.
It was with an organization called Abide and Lead.
It was not the same.
Okay. So, went on this retreat. It was really cool. It was cool to like meet a lot of believers who are like entrepreneurial, and kind of get to know what they're working on and stuff. And I felt like one of my main takeaways was not believing that God's dreams for my life are better than my own dreams for my life. And so that's a lot of like where I've been at in my journey with the Lord, is like trying to identify the parts of my belief structure about the world and about life that is like just some kind of limiting belief that I've self-imposed on myself. And it's in subtle ways. It's like, when I'm thinking about the podcast, for example, going after bigger guests, quote, bigger guests, looking at like people who are creators in like Atlanta or Nashville or something like that and being like, okay, I'm not at a level yet where I could reach out to that person. Like I need to like climb this ladder, and like I need to interview more people who do that thing, but not at the level that they do, before I can reach their level. Or I need to interview people who have bigger followings before I can reach someone who has.
So you can be like, I've
following.
Interviewed this guest.
Exactly. And like build the resume.
Yeah, I have this resume of
which is not like
people.
Entirely a bad idea necessarily, but like not even being willing to ask before
reckless optimism.
Right. Yeah. And I'm wrestling with that a lot. And I love that message that I watched that video the other day that you made. I
think as Christians, we're called to experience life in an abundant way. And we're called to experience joy in life in an abundant way. And not in a way, I think a lot of people think that the commitment to the Christian life is like you're putting on these shackles. But if you think about the Christian life, it should be freeing, and it should be this. You should have this joy about it, and you shouldn't be kind of like down about yourself. I think that we've believed this lie for so long that you aren't supposed to experience the great things in life, and I think Christians are supposed to experience the great things in life more than non-believers. Yeah, and that's like the light that they shine on other people, and that's backed up in Scripture too. And we've believed this lie for so long that, man, like whenever you commit to the Christian life, you're just kind of like committing to a life of slavery, and you just have like just kind of like lay low and just kind of get through. And it's like, no, you're supposed to experience things abundantly and with joy, and the things of life, you're supposed to experience them fully. And I think we kind of get caught up in this idea that we aren't. We think that we aren't, and we kind of believe that no, it's not for us. Yeah. It's like, yeah, like maybe not in a sense of idolatry, like worshiping those things, but whenever we have our priorities straight, whenever we have that true belief in Christ, like that's, we are supposed to experience things abundantly and with joy. Yeah. And
I think so much of it for me is wrestling with the idea of like the prosperity gospel, and being like so scared that I'm like just believing God's going to make my life be like so wonderful and amazing just because I believe in him and like have this sense of optimism, you know? And that's not true. And it's funny. It's just funny the way that like things like that get twisted in your mind, where you like take a good intention, which is like, no, like life is going to be hard, and like you're not necessarily going to like have instant success in everything that you do just because you're a Christian. Like that's not promised. No. But like thinking that you have to just like do a job you hate, or like, you know, I was it was funny. I was telling Claire my wife this. You literally yesterday on FaceTime. I wrestled with growing up here because I didn't really relate with a lot of people I grew up around. I wasn't into like hunting and, football and like just kind of the stuff that Southern people typically are into, And I felt like I had to like leave and escape and go find new friends elsewhere. And I did, and I have a wonderful and amazing life in Alabama, which is also still just like the South. It's like not really that much different. But I was talking to her, and it was funny. I was like, I think I had this fear growing up that I was going to like end up buying a house in the suburban neighborhood, driving like the Ford F-150, like get a boat to go out for the weekend. Like I had this fear that like that was what I was going to become.
That was like the path you were on.
As if I don't have any sense of agency and choice over that. It's like, no. They choose to do that. Like you have the same, if you get a job and make any amount of money, you have the same ability to make choices about what you spend that money on. Like you can choose to live in like the 101-year-old house that I live in, or in the suburbs with like some brand new thing that looks exactly like the house next to it. Like these are all just choices. And it was just hilarious thinking about how I got in my own head about that so much when I was younger. And I think I still have like remnants of that I wrestle with now, but I'm kind of like pushing through. And like as I grow and get older and kind of start to achieve certain goals that I have for myself, I start to see that it's like, why do I believe that like my life is going to end up in some way that I hate? It's just kind of like a stupid self-limiting belief. Anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you could easily end up in that mindset, and dude, just take hold of it. It's not. It's like you have the autonomy, you have the choices. Don't make the decisions and just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much else. We miss anything?
I don't think so.
Where can people find you?
Instagram, YouTube. Just look up Brock Kelly. You'll find me. I'll be there.
Fantastic. Thanks for doing this, Brock.
Yeah.
This was really fun.
Enjoyed it.
I love what you're doing, and I think the message you're sharing is really cool, really important. I love the message of like intentional living because, even back to the beginning of our conversation about like social media algorithms just like feeding you things. I think everyone has a sense of agency and a sense of like control in some semblance, at least over their own choices. And it's hard work sometimes to like make a life that's fulfilling and wonderful and great. But I do think it's the call of the Christian to like take your thoughts captive, take control in the things that God gives you control over, and build something beautiful out of that. And so I think the message that you're sharing is great. Keep doing it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's fun.
Yes, sir.